the Talk Birdie-tome with former world number 16 Nick O'Hearn and Tour Pro Mark Allen, live from Titleist and FootJoy headquarters. And thanks to our great partners, Titleist, they're the clear number one ball in golf. FootJoy are the number one shoe and glove in golf. Driving a BMW is like hitting a perfect shot. Smooth, controlled and powerful. Ping, they'll help you play your best. The Golf Clearance Outlet beat everyone's prices. And Bekker, the fastest and easiest betting app in Australia. Now, from Titleist and FootJoy headquarters, it's time for Talk Birdie-tome.
G'day everybody, welcome to the program. Nick O'Hearn is here, raring to go, and so am I, because it's another big week in golf. Good to see you.
And you, Mark?
Just before we get started, you might have noticed, folks, on our socials, we've asked you to complete a little survey. Now, this survey, one, you can win a couple of great prizes, $300 worth of the Golf Clearance Outlet, who have just opened their new store in Mornington. It opened on Monday, so make sure you, if you're down there on the Mornington Peninsula, to drop in and say hello to their team, because they are raring to go. So $300 worth from the Golf Clearance Outlet, and also $300 worth of FootJoy shoes as well. One lucky survey completer will pick up.
Yeah. And the survey doesn't take long. It takes maybe 6, 7, 8 minutes. It's a really quick survey. And we ask you about all the features and things on the show. So if there's something you love, we'll find out about it. If there's something you don't like or you want to improve, you can tell us.
Okay, so we're just trying to make the show better for people who are listening to us. So if you could, that'd be great. Some of the people who've got back to me have said it's only taken 5 minutes. So I know you've said very generously 7 or 8, but it really only takes about 5 minutes and you just race through it.
Wow.
So that's big. And good luck again to the new Golf Clearance Outlet down there in Mornington as well.
The photos look great.
The photos look great?
They look really – we should go down there.
We should
go down and do a show there.
At least a mini or something.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, okay. We'll get that sorted. We'll sort something out.
I keep driving past Mornington. I've never been in there, so I have to do it.
Mornington's one of the great little coastal towns that we have in Victoria.
Nice golf club out here too.
Now, the big news, Nicholas. Now, I've just read this on in the New York Times, believe it or not.
Oh, okay.
So we're looking at, have you heard anything from the LIV PGA Tour merger of late?
Well, I think that's not dead and buried, but I think it's been put on the back burner.
It's cooked, isn't it? I mean, let's get serious. It is cooked. Now, this is what's basically being said. Now, I've managed to just squeeze it into one little thing. The merger between the PGA Tour and the Saudi-backed LIV Golf announced as a surprise framework agreement in June of 2023. This is how long we've been talking about it.
That's right, the framework agreement. I was trying to remember what the name was for that.
2 years we've been talking about how they're going to get both the PGA Tour and LIV together. It remains in limbo as of October 2025. More than 2 years later, what started as a bold plan to unify professional golf has developed into protracted, secretive talks marked by missed deadlines, antitrust scrutiny, and shifting priorities. No full merger has materialised, and recent reports indicate the sides are further apart than ever, with the PGA Tour rejecting LIV's latest proposal in favour of a deeper integration. Now, that's all from the New York Times.
Okay.
Despite this, both entities continue operations independently. The PGA Tour released its full 2025 schedule in late 2024, while LIV announced only 4 international events so far without a new US media deal. So I can't see it. Now, once upon a time, I was spruiking that my source Scotty Scheffler's brother-in-law, if you've just joined us. My source, he's gone quiet. Right. He doesn't know anything. Nothing's happening. Yeah. They've got committees all over the place. They've had Oval Office meetings. It's done. I'm happy to say that. I've been wrong before, so if I'm wrong again, I'll be happy to be wrong.
From what I've heard from the LIV side of things, the schedule will come out again.
Yep.
They'll play another full season as they do. PGA Tour's doing their thing, LIV's doing theirs. But the thing I'm curious about is when they first signed, how long ago was it? 4 years ago?
Well, I think this would have to be. I've seen 3 Adelaides, right? So this coming one would have to be the 4th Adelaide.
And I think a lot of players signed up for 4-year contracts.
That's right.
So once those contracts are up, that's when I think it'll get very interesting, because players like Brooks Koepka, not so much John Rahm, he signed, a year or 2 in, Dustin Johnson,
yes,
all those other players, that that came from the PGA Tour, who you thought, Cam Smith, for example.
Yeah.
When did he win the Open? That was 2022.
It was about 3 years ago.
Yeah,
something like
so
that, yeah.
I don't know how long he signed for. They seem, him and Leash seem very happy as to what their plans are. So maybe they'll just keep doing what they're doing and re-sign again, and away they go. The whole team franchise model that they were working on, I haven't heard much about that. I mean, they were talking $800 million, $1 billion valuations for these teams quite a while
That's
ago.
completely
And drafting in
disappeared.
new players, you don't really hear about that anymore.
Completely disappeared. People
don't know.
buying teams.
But maybe they're happy doing their little thing, and then, well, not little thing, it is a large thing. Obviously, it's incredible for them and what they've been able to achieve. But PGA Tour are very happy doing their thing as well. Have they gone into that strategic, what is it, the SSG group, who put in the $1.5 billion? Have they tapped into that yet, the PGA Tour? I don't know.
Well, there seemed to be a clause with that, the SSG group, that it was only if they got in bed with the Saudis in the first place that money would kick in. So, look, it seems like it's morphed into what we thought it might anyway. And that is LIV players welcomed on the European Tour or the DP World Tour, because every week I watch Patrick Reed near the top of the leaderboard. He's happily playing on the European Tour, it seems.
He's playing more golf than he ever has.
I just saw where Joaquin Neiman has said he's going to play at the BMW PGA Championship as well. So he's going to play in the Australian Open and the Australian PGA, both European Tour events. Yeah. So it seems like...
Well, I think they're looking for starts to get those world ranking points, because that never came along as well.
Yeah.
So interestingly enough, we had this past week, they had the first, how they're giving out exemptions to 6 national opens, to the Masters and the Open. So the first one happened last week, the Japan Open.
Yep.
And a Japanese player who I can't remember his name now, but I'll announce later in the Ping Global results. He's ranked 500th in the world, and he gets a start in the Open and the Masters. Now the next one is Hong Kong. And the entry list for the Hong Kong Open contains 31 LIV players. Yeah. Because they all want to play in the Masters and the Open. So
this is what we've been saying for quite some time, is that if you can organise these exemptions for the World Opens, even a couple of World PGAs would be nice, then away we go. Then all of a sudden a lot of these LIV players will turn up for basically nothing. Basically nothing. I mean, a lot of them say, hey, listen, how about, I can imagine Dustin Johnson, for instance, if he ever falls out, he's probably the wrong example.
Yeah, he is.
Because he's going to play in the Masters for the rest of his life.
True.
Someone like Patrick Reed.
He'll play in the Masters for the rest of his life as well.
That's another bad example. Another bad example. Go on, give me a good example, will you?
Oh, hang on.
So Brooks Koepka, how many? I mean, his exemptions are about surely. When's the last time he won a major?
Brooks Koepka. No, when was the last one? It's probably like 20. No, he won while he was playing LIV, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Might have been 2023. There's another bad example.
So have we got any good examples?
I don't know.
It doesn't seem like it.
I'd have to go through the list. I've been a bit crook the past week, so I'm trying to figure out all the names in my head right now. So
anyway, what will be interesting is mid-season next year, I imagine if LIV want to keep on going stronger and better and more tournaments, then they're going to have to start making announcements that they have re-signed Patrick Reed and re-signed DJ and maybe re-signed Phil Mickelson and start reeling off their big names. What will be interesting is to see which players do not get re-signed and then what happens to them. Do they have to start again on the PGA Tour? Do they have to start again on the DP World Tour? That is going to be...
Who knows?
That is going to be a who knows. But those things, well, they're in their loose ends have got to be got to be fixed up.
And they're in their off season now with LIV. So I think John Rahm's taking 3 or 4 months off, is what he said, until the next when they start up again in 2026. But one thing, I mean, like the Aussie team, the Rippers. I mean, Cam, Leash, Lucas Herbert seems very happy.
Yep.
I haven't heard much about Matt Jones lately, so I'm wondering. Is there going to be is someone else going to come in for Matt Jones from the Aussie front? That'd be interesting to know. So.
Were there any 2-year deals signed? Were there any 3-year deals signed? Were there ever? I mean, I'm sure there were.
Haven't you got sources for this?
Well, my sources are my source is much better on the PGA Tour stuff because we have a direct window straight into it. But the LIV stuff, I've got no idea. I mean, we've got a few. I call Wade Ormsby, I guess.
Yeah. True.
and ask Wade and see what if he'll tell me. But he probably won't tell me anything now that I've said it because he'll be worried that I will talk about it right here. Look, those things are, to me, as a past professional golfer, they really interest me. I'm just so keen to see what happens, not so much to the top 10, because if they want to leave those top 10 players, I'm sure they'll find a way for the poster boys to get back on the PGA Tour. It's not an issue. And for the ones who want to stay, well, you've been there anyway. That's not going to be big news. The bottom 20 players on LIV who still think they can play, who are still in their 30s, those types of players.
Yeah.
Have they made enough money to
I'm sure
put
they
their
have.
feet up for the rest of their life? Or, what do they want to do will interest me.
Yeah, true. I'm not sure. Someone like a Danny Lee, New Zealand golfer.
Yeah.
There's
There's a great example.
a good example. Well, Charles Howell III, I mean, he's made so much money throughout his career. That's not an issue.
He's right.
I don't know.
What about some of these young
question.
players that got out of college? You know, some of the guys who jumped straight to LIV. Well, I mean,
there's been a couple
they'll
of
have
good
next
stories.
to no status at all.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, there was one guy, Frederick Ketterup, I think, who they got straight out of, well, not straight out of college. I think he went to PGA Tour Americas, was the next superstar, basically.
Yeah.
He went to college in the US, and
remember
all of a
him,
sudden his game's just gone completely south, and he'll be gone now as well. So what does he do? So, yeah.
Why would it go south? Someone like that, is it?
It may be a couple of reasons. Golf's a funny game where sometimes you just get on the wrong path. The other side of it is he's been thrown in against probably a lot of people he's looked up to throughout his whole career. The Sergio Garcias, the Henrik Stensons, the John Rahms.
Yeah.
And you get thrown in the deep end with them. And if you don't play well, all of a sudden it's like, hang on, whoa, maybe I'm not good enough. And that can dent your confidence. And then all of a sudden things just snowball and away you go from there.
What I do want to ask you about, Nicholas, and it's to do with where you were commentating last week, Mount Lawley. The pictures I saw look fabulous, but I haven't seen any player feedback. What were the players saying about the golf course?
Absolutely loved it.
Did they really?
Yeah. And the beautiful thing about Mount Lawley, it's 6,200 metres long.
Yep.
It's firm and fast, so 6,800 yards, not a long golf course at all. The winning score was, I think it was 7 under.
Was it windy?
A little bit. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It was typical Fremantle Doctor, the wind that they get every day. The sou'wester, probably 20K, 25K maybe. They got a bit of rain on the final day. Rock hard.
Right.
And the pins, so OCM has done the redo, obviously. They put so many more sections in the greens now that they can tuck the pins away. So players were having trouble getting wedged within 20 feet, which is kind of very much Sandbeltish.
Oh, I should have watched this tournament.
You should have watched it.
I had a busy weekend.
Fascinating finish, by the way. So
I haven't seen the finish.
Okay, well,
what happened to the finish? Just tell me.
Oliver Bekker, the South African.
He won.
He got an invite. He wants to move to Perth apparently as well. So he wins.
I read where he's missed like a handful of cuts.
Yeah.
5 or 6 cuts before he played this one. Told his wife that he was getting close. We've all been there, right?
I don't know how many times I've told a ladder, I'm right there. It's just around the corner.
I can remember girlfriends who were interested in my golf, and I'd missed a few cuts in a row, and I would explain to them that I'm this close to playing well. Just a couple of putts go in early, and I'll be right. Yeah, it's a joke among professional golfers. Really, we're always close to playing well. Anyway, he missed a handful of cuts.
You're only one swing away. Remember that, from greatness or absolute crap. So anyway, however, final hole, he's short right of this par 5. He's got the putter out and he's going to putt it on. So I thought,
he's going to putt it on.
I thought he must be only a couple of metres off, but he's walking back, and all of a sudden,
hang on, what's he putting it on for? Was he only just off?
Well, that's what I thought. But when I first saw him with the putter out, but then as they pan back, he's about 15 metres off the green. I thought,
he's 15 metres off the green.
Hang on, I know this green. I know where it goes. You can putt this in the bunker if you're not careful.
Was he in a divot?
No. So basically, that says to me. Initially on the commentary, I said, well, I guess he doesn't, feel that confident in his chipping at the moment. In his press conference afterwards, he just said, look, I'm unfamiliar with playing off this turf. So, which is a bit strange. It's cooch.
It's just cooch grass,
It's cooch grass and it's firm. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. He was obviously feeling it, and he probably just wanted to,
he was nervy.
But he came 2 inches with him putting it in the bunker. And then the weirdest thing is he had to hit his next putt left-handed. So I actually think he created history by becoming the first player to win a golf tournament by playing the last hole both right and left-handed.
See, you're working, you're just your time in the media looking for these angles.
Absolutely.
Hitting it right in the belly of the ball and needs to slow down.
Well, we got the read right, but the pace was...
Oh my goodness, down the stretch 2 or 3 times, Nick, from that distance. Bekker hold them. He stood under.
I can't remember ever a winner playing the last hole both right and left-handed.
But to be fair, where he hit the ball, it almost went over the crest. And if it keeps going, it's going to be around the hole somewhere, but it almost goes left into the bunker. He's 2 inches from the edge, so he can't take a stance right-handed. He hits it back of the putter left-handed, hit it 8 feet past, and you can see he's shaken.
Right.
But then he holds this 8-footer, curls it in the left side, and Cameron John needed to birdie the last and didn't. So it was all over.
I love tournaments where you have to aim away from the hole with a wedge for professionals because as a pro, you know if you hit the perfect shot, it's possible. And it looks so good. And it feels even better when you take on a pin with a wedge and you strike it and you know it's fizzing and you know it's online and then you're just waiting for that first bounce. But that's the sort of shot also that can go pear-shaped really quickly.
Very much so.
If it doesn't spin or if it hits a hard spot on the green in your short side yourself or whatever might else happen.
Pros talk about being a groove low or a groove high on the face, and that means the world of difference on courses like Mount Lawley, which came up an absolute treat. All the players loved it. Even though it was tough, they said it was fair. Personally, it's very much a family affair because that's my home course. I'm still a member. I've been a member there for 40 years.
And your brother?
Brother's the GM. Mum and dad work. You know, they've been working, the volunteering, and my sister-in-law, my nephews, niece.
Have they made you an honorary member yet?
I am an honorary member.
How many courses are you an honorary member at?
Just the one.
Just the one, okay.
Anyway. But the golf course, I think, from what I've heard from people, they're saying so far this has been the best event of the season. So
the best course that they've played on
best course and best event.
Best event. That's a big rap,
so
isn't
far.
it?
So,
well, look, it reminds me because at the start of the week I put on our WhatsApp group it was a post from OCM, and that's Mike Cocking and Ogilvy and Mead, and I've been speaking a little bit with Michael Cocking because. I can't actually say, but I've been speaking a little bit with Michael Cocking, and he was over there at Four Line a couple of weeks ago. This is the new golf course he's built. 2 golf courses in Georgia.
Oh, in Georgia. That's right. I remember him talking about that when he came on our pod.
That's right. So,
60
60 million years ago, it was water in this particular area, and it's all sand. It's exactly like a sandbelt area, like where the lakes and all these other golf courses are in Sydney, and of course the sandbelt in Melbourne, and the sandy areas in Perth. So it's a sandy area right in the middle of Georgia. Anyway, you can see on the pictures now if you're watching on YouTube. And what he actually said in this post was, for years and years and years, golf course architects have said they didn't quite have the sand required to mow the greens right to the edge of these bunkers and have the bunker cut in the green, which
it's such a great look.
It's such a killer look, and it defines kind of Australian golf, not just sandbelt golf. Now it's spreading all over the place.
They did the same in Perth. I mean, exactly what happened on the final hole.
That's exactly right. Anyway, so the course raters were at Four Line. This is the West Course at Four Line.
You'd think you're somewhere in Australia, wouldn't you?
I had a friend who was over there a couple of weeks ago. His name is Gareth, and Gareth got to play both courses. He said it was just unbelievable.
Wow.
He said, and Gareth is a member at Tara Edie, and he's had access to some of the best golf courses in the world.
Oh, look
he
at
could
that.
not get over.
Look at that picture.
Four Line. You can see there the bunker cut into the green. So it's not just a round circle green like they have most of the time in America. It's a bunker that actually cuts into it. And what that does to, one, your brain, but two, what side of the fairway you want to come in from, and that sort of bunkering alters the way you think about the golf hole.
And you don't need rough around the greens either when it's like that. You can see how shaved all the around the greens they are at that course that they built. And that's the beautiful part about it is the natural landscape becomes its defence.
Yeah. Well, look, this Michael Cocking, I know we talk about him an awful lot, but we talk about him for good reason. He's becoming a superstar. He and Jeff Ogle and Mead. They are the hottest group in world golf at the moment. I won't say what he was doing over there in New Zealand when I spoke to him, but you can imagine.
Yep.
There's all kinds of things happening. I mean, everybody wants a piece of this guy. We should try and get him on. If he's in New Zealand at the moment, I know he was in America, so maybe he was coming home.
Maybe he's on his way home.
Yeah, hopefully he's on his way back. But we'll try and get him in
Absolutely.
to talk about it, because if he gets fall line, both courses, if he can get them to debut high in the top 100, the good top 100s, not the bad ones.
Cool name for a course too, Fall Line.
Yeah, you love that name, don't you?
Yeah.
Why do they call it fall line? Was it?
No idea.
Not do I. So look, we'll try and get him in next week.
Sounds like a Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movie.
It's exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it sounds like.
Well, they're looking
Mission
for the
Impossible fall line.
Fall line on your putt or something. I don't know.
Well, no, fall line Mission Impossible. Anyway, hopefully we get to play it one day, Nick. I'd love to get over there and have a look at these golf courses because they look so ridiculously good.
Boys, the voicemail message just went off. Did you hear that?
Oh, let's go. Okay.
Would you like to have a
Yes,
listen?
please.
You have one new voicemail. New message.
Hey guys, Rick from Perth here. Just wanted to say it was nice of you, Mark, to point out about Jay Richardson's shoes at the recent WA PGA in Kalgoorlie. I thought they looked the most comfortable shoes that any golfer had on the course, but I'm not ringing for that. Getting to an older age in golf here and wondering whether the transition from the 4 and 5 iron to the hybrid and a iron set of maybe 6 to pitching wedge, and how do you guys feel about that and the impact of hybrids for golfers as they get older? Look forward to your feedback. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a very good question, Rick, and one that's in the back of my mind at the moment as well. If I wasn't playing Kingston Heath, where I think the low ball is pretty handy, I reckon if I was playing in America, if I was playing on a golf course that wasn't so windy, I think I'd have a bag full of hybrids as well at the age of 56. I know Freddie Couples does. So Freddie Couples has turned 60, still shoots good scores when he plays in the Champions Tour, not winning so much these days, but still throws in a little 62 or a 63 from time to time. His longest iron is a 6 iron. And it's not a blade 6 iron, it's a game help 6 iron.
Right.
And then from there, I think he's got 1, 2 or 3 hybrids and then a 5 wood. It's probably a 7 wood. I know you've got the 7 wood, but look, those days are coming for me, for sure.
I think for most golfers, definitely, look, do you need a 3 wood? Probably not. I've gone for the 1, 4 and 7 wood in my G440s. Best combination I've ever had.
Yeah.
The 7 wood's a game changer. It really is. And then I'd say get a 4 hybrid, a 5 hybrid, and then maybe 6 iron up.
Yeah.
For most golfers out there, I'd say that are in handicaps of from double figures onwards, from 10 up, I would think. Now, if you're a single figure marker, then sure, you can you want to hit the 4 and 5 iron and keep it a little lower depending on the course that you play. Absolutely. But hybrids are definitely very helpful for 80% of golfers out there, 90%.
Even some of these driving irons. So, for instance, my 4 iron, when I first turned pro, a 1 iron had 17 degrees and your 2 iron had 20 degrees. My 4 iron has 20 degrees these days, but it's got a graphite shaft. So it's like hitting an old 2 iron as far as just the loft is concerned. But with the graphite shaft and all the technology that goes into the T200s, it is almost the easiest club in my bag to hit. And it's got the loft of an old 2 iron. So combined with the lightweight shaft in my 5 iron with the T150s and, all the technology, heel and toe. And
do you use that more off the tee or off the fairway?
I use it off the fairway. I use it everywhere. Right. It's just such an easy club to hit. So, once I've said this a number of times on the podcast, once upon a time with the old Bellata ball, that ball spun so much, that's what kept the thing in the air. These days, the new Titleist Pro V1, the Pro V1X, they have different characteristics, but basically they don't spin as much with drivers and fairway woods and long irons. So you need, what do we call this at the start?
Trajectory.
We need the high
Launch.
trajectory, the launch. That's what I was looking for. That's the technical term. Thank you, Nick. The launch with a 6, a 5, a 4, and a 3 iron, because it doesn't spin as much, is required to keep the thing up in the air. Otherwise, you'll be hitting stingers your whole life, and stingers don't hold the green.
No, exactly.
When your club head speed.
And then when you get on the
somewhere
green,
in the 60-year-old mark.
and then when you get on the green, it's just about avoiding 3 putts, right?
I'm glad you brought that up. Now, did you? I've sent this. Did you see it on the WhatsApp group?
I did.
Can we play it for everyone, Dan?
Yeah, that'd be
Now,
great.
this guy, his name is Scott Fawcett. He's the founder of Decade Golf, which is a stats.
It's a stats program. But basically, a lot of the guys on the PGA Tour and around the world use this system.
Yeah.
It's about, what do you call it? Accumulating numbers and saying, okay, here are your dispersion patterns and things like that.
And it's
how
all to do
improve your game.
with good players, bad players, scratch markers, professionals, the whole lot.
Yep.
And it's all integrated in. Let's have a listen to I just saw it on, it was a post on Twitter, but let's have a listen to Scott Fawcett.
The top 10 strokes gained putter at Oakmont from outside 25 feet left 47% of their putts short. They also put 77% of their putts from outside 25 feet within 10% of the length of the putt. So if they were 30 feet, they got the putt within 3 feet of the hole. But that's important to understand. That's 3 feet long or 3 feet short. So you've got a 6-foot window of speed tolerance, and the best putters always have the shortest second putt from outside 25 feet. That's where you crush the competition, because you eliminate 3 putts, and I promise you still will make putts. Those numbers resulted in a 3-putt rate of 10.4% versus the field's 17% from outside 25 feet.
Interesting, isn't it?
Well,
now this is Oakmont, by the way, which are the toughest greens in the world.
Toughest greens in the world, US Open pressure.
Yep.
But we're just talking about putts from outside 25 feet.
Yep.
Now, even on the best golf courses even on the best tournaments you've ever seen on the PGA Tour, quite often a professional golfer will hit it outside 25 feet.
Mm-hmm.
So that means quite often somebody off 15 or 25 will chip it outside of 25 feet. And I think what he was saying there, I remember my old coach at Texas Tech. He was a hopeless coach, the worst ever coach. He was useless. Anyway, he would go crook at me if I left a 30-footer, even sometimes a 40-footer short. He'd go crook at me. I'm thinking, mate, one, green, it's not a billiard table one, it's not a billiard table on every hole where it's perfect. Each green has a different speed. I'll never tell you that, but they do. Some run at 10.5, some run at 10, some run at 11. That's just the nature of grass and the greens and whether there's trees around it, whatever. But it's hard to pick that up, half. So that translates, if it's half a foot from 10 feet, at the 40 foot, that translates into 2 foot.
Yeah.
So basically, if you don't know the speed of the green perfectly, then the 2 foot difference from over 40 feet, that can turn into a 6-footer very, very quickly.
In a heartbeat, yeah. And all 3 putts, well, I'm not going to say all, but the majority, 95% of 3 putts are because of distance control, not because you misread them.
That's right.
More often you're 6 foot past or short, you're not 6 foot wide.
That's correct.
So speed is everything. It's not everything, but it's the majority of the things with putting. So.
And what Scott Fawcett was just saying there is that if you're always trying to get it past the hole, then that 6 foot range, you're going to get an awful lot of 6-footers all of a sudden.
Exactly right.
6-footers and more from just over 25 feet. Now, that's US Open players he's talking about.
We're talking about best players in the world. The field average from over 25 feet there was 17% had 3 putts.
That's
from
right.
over 25 feet. So for most golfers, like if I ever play with someone in a social comp or something. They have a 15 or a 20 footer and they leave it short and they go, oh, why'd you leave it short? And I said, that's fine. If you're a foot short, that is perfectly okay. 2 feet short, that's fine. That's a tap in for you. If you're 3 or 4 feet short, then I guess, that's maybe something to work on. But a lot of people hit a putt and it'll almost go in, it goes 4 feet past and they go, oh, geez, I gave that a good run. I thought, I'd rather be a foot short on, wide or whatever, because all of a sudden I got a tap in. Now you're sweating over a 4-footer. Most people will 3-putt more than they'll 1-putt from that sort of a range.
Yeah, okay. So coincidentally, you're not going to believe this, but Lou Stegner from Arcos Golf. Now, if you're not following Lou, do yourself a favour.
He's good.
He's everywhere. But you can see there, for a scratch markers, according to Lou in America, they 3-putt from 36 to 40 feet 25% of the time. A scratch marker.
Incredible, isn't it?
That is actually quite hard to believe. And the person, the 20 in, so a 20 marker, they 3-putt from the same range, 36 to 40 feet, almost 50% of the time. So I put to you, Nick, that there are a hell of a lot of golfers out there who think it's bad to leave a putt short from 25, 30 feet. And if they think it's bad to leave a putt short from 25 to 30 feet, then it only makes sense that they probably think it's the wrong thing to do to leave a 40-footer short of the hole as well. So, folks, I'm telling you now, unless it's kind of 15 a foot in, 15 feet, that's kind of where you want to start thinking, I'm going to hold this thing.
Yeah, but even so, I'm looking at 11 to 15 feet. For a 20 marker, they 3-putt 11% of the time.
There you go.
And are they going to make an 11 to 15 footer 11% of the time?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
Not for a 20 marker. So
No.
that sort of goes, well, I'm probably going to 3-putt more than I'm going to 1-putt. Why don't I just get it close to the hole rather than trying to make it?
That's right.
Yeah.
And
Anyway.
we had a great question last week, Dan. It was a couple of weeks ago. The Queenslander, the scratch golfer, was trying to keep double bogeys off his scorecard. Fred.
Yes.
So this kind of plays into that. And the post that I saw Scott Fawcett talking about, they were talking about eliminating double bogeys. And they were saying that most double bogeys end in a 3-putt.
3-putt.
Because you're so desperate to save par that from 40 feet you snake this thing a million miles past and now you miss a 6-footer. Well, everyone misses 6-footers. Again, you're not putting on a billiard table. There are bumps and wind and all kinds of things. People leaning on their putter to pick up the ball. Anything can happen to that ball.
Yeah. I never make double bogeys, so it doesn't affect me.
Of course.
I'm kidding.
Just the consistency.
Yeah, I wish. But all my doubles, no, I wouldn't say all, but I'd say probably 3/4 of them happen because of a 3-putt. Isn't that strange? Yeah. Yeah, now I'm, okay, I've got to work on that.
That's right. But as a golfer, we're so greedy. We're so greedy, even though we've made a little bit of a mess of the hole and I've got this 30-foot curler.
I reckon I can make it.
To save par. But gee, I've had a good read here. Instead of just hitting a nice putt, right? Instead of just getting up there and just hitting a nice putt like you ordinarily would, and when you're playing well, so desperate you knock it 6 foot past if you miss. And then you're right. I would say 50% of my double bogeys end in 3 putts as well.
Yeah.
I would say it would be an absolute certainty.
Boys, what we'll do now, we're going to go to the turn, and after the turn...
What about our touch of class?
We're going to do it after the turn.
Okay.
Because we want to get
a top 5
on how you went on the Gold Coast at the BMW Open last week.
Absolutely.
See you on the 10th tee.
From Titleist and FootJoy headquarters, this is talkbirdietome. We're here for BMW, luxury and comfort for the 19th hole. Ping will help you play your best. The golf clearance outlet beat everyone's prices. And Bekker is the fastest and easiest betting app in Australia. Now, for Titleist, the #1 ball in golf, and FootJoy, the #1 shoe and glove in golf, is Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen.
Welcome back. Okay, time for this week's BMW Touch of Class.
Touch of class, baby. Touch of class. Touch of class.
Driving a BMW is like hitting the perfect shot.
Well, that is pure magic.
Pure magic, Mark, I can tell you. And funnily enough, the touch of class, given it's BMW, I was up on the Gold Coast last week after, we did our Talk Birdie Golf Day.
Yeah.
I went back there a few days later.
It was the final, wasn't it?
To do the BMW World Final for Australia and New Zealand. Elvis Smiley was up there, had a couple of games with him. So depressing playing with that guy because he hits it so good.
Really?
I mean, I smoked one on one of my rounds, like hit my Sunday bet, smoked it. He had me my 30 with his 3-wood.
With his 3-wood?
Yes, with his 3-wood. So
that's no good.
That's very depressing. But anyway, I'm looking forward to the end of his season. But wonderful event. And the winners of each category, they had men's A, B, the ladies for Australia and New Zealand, they all go to the world final.
Right.
But I played with Elvis one day and he hit the easiest 66 you've ever seen. It was very much a touch class, but that's not actually it. There was a guy called Scott Simpson from Townsville, played off a 1 handicap, had 42 points, shot 67 out there.
At Hope, at where?
At Sanctuary
Cove, the
on
Pines?
the Pines course.
Oh, my God.
The greens were fast. There was a bit of breeze, and I was thinking, my goodness.
That's pro level.
That's a touch of class right there. So, Scott, you are our touch of class this week. Lovely guy too. I can't wait to see how he goes in the world final, which is in Fancourt in South Africa.
It's a wonderful event, but I imagine some of our guys who are watching this, our Wolfpack, would love to get involved. Dan, do we know? Am I asking a question you don't know the answer to?
No, it's actually pretty easy to get involved. If you want to get involved, it's the local qualifiers are organised by each local individual BMW dealership.
Okay.
And so they have qualifying events, and you can win your way through to the Gold Coast, the Australian final.
So
on the Gold
buy
Coast.
a car.
I think you may need to buy a BMW.
That's okay.
So
That's part of the deal.
That kind of works.
You've got to have a handicap, and you've got to not be a pro. So
that helps as well.
That's how it works. And if you win your way through, then you have the chance, as Scott did, to go to the BMW Golf Cup World Final. If you want more information, it's very simple. Speak to your local BMW dealer.
Sounds like a great event.
So Scott's your touch of class, is he?
He is.
Top five.
The top 5 for Better, the fastest and easiest betting app in Australia.
Top five.
All right, this week's top 5, given I commentated for the W Open on the weekend, they had one of the most unique and interesting greens in world golf.
Which hole?
It's now the 4th. It used to be the 13th when I played there as a kid, but they switched the 9s. And every hole out there has a name.
Right.
And for example, there's a name of a hole, the second. It's called Clutie's Elbow.
Clutie. Who's Clutie?
Well, interesting. But what happened, this course has been around since 1928. Back in 1930, there was a dead body found next to the second green.
A dead body?
And next to him was a bottle of poison. So Clutie is Gaelic for the devil.
Right.
And apparently they decided to call it Clutie's Elbow because, I don't know.
Well, that makes sense. That's
so there
why.
you go.
You find a dead body next to a golf hole, it's fair enough.
Fair call. Anyway, this the 4th hole is called Commonwealth. And the green is fair dinkum in a map of Australia.
Right.
It is totally full on a map of Australia. So
is the Great Australian Bite a bunker?
The Great Australian Bite is sort of half a bunker and half, you can run it up.
Yeah, okay.
You can run it up through Albany or Esperance or something like that.
Right.
What's
Tasmania? What's Bass Strait?
Well, it's a bunker, and they got Tasmania as a little island fescue sort of grassy area. They've done it very well.
Sounds good.
Anyway, so in honour of that, the top 5 most unique and interesting greens that I have played on around the world.
Okay.
Number 5. Now, this may come as, oh, really? But because I've played there and I know how difficult this hole is, and when you stand on the top of the hill and you look down at it, you go, oh my gosh, it's the 15th at Augusta. That green is an absolute sliver, the par 5.
Yeah.
Especially when they put the pin on the left-hand side. It's an incredible green because you go long, you can easily chip it back in the water.
Yeah.
If you're short, you're obviously in the water.
Yeah.
It kind of breaks in 2 different ways as you're coming from the right to the left. When you go down there, you're not quite sure. There's a bit of a seam running through it. It's phenomenal.
I've been to 12 Masters, and that's actually the spot I tell everyone to go to. And I tell them
grandstand.
I tell them to go there. Yes. I tell them to go there, not to watch the shots in, to watch the shots of the players who have laid up onto the downslope.
Yeah. Hardest
because
wedge shot in golf.
What you don't get, folks, is that downslope is, I don't know, I'm going to say 30 degrees, and they're all hitting lob wedges off the downslope. So it's going to come out low, and they've got to hit it so perfect that it somehow stops on the green, and there is water, like you say. It's a tough chip once you've gone over,
Brutal.
and if you leave it short because you don't want to go over,
Exactly.
well, you're in the pond.
Too much spin, you suck it off the front.
It's a great place to
phenomenal.
watch golf.
Anyway, that's number 5. Number 4 is the old course, the 17th.
I'm
Quite
glad
a
you got it in there.
fascinating green, that one, the road hole. And obviously very famous for Cameron Smith when he putted around the bunker.
Yeah.
I've been in that road hole bunker a few times during tournaments. Not a fun place to be, but I have got out every single time.
I saw Yarmo Sanderland over the back of that green just recently. He must have been
Up against the wall.
Up against the wall and hit the shot into the wall and made the ball spin past the.
Yeah.
It was. If you can find that shot, Dan.
It's a very interesting way. He could break his club. This fellow always reminds me of Arnold Schwarzenegger. And this could be a Terminator of a shot.
Oh, look at this. What a little batsman as well off the bat. Brilliant shot from Sanderland. Well, it's moments like that make golf worth watching. Serious. Look at the smile on his face.
My God, what a shot that was.
If you ever play the course or that hole, just lay it up front right.
Yeah.
And if you 2-putt from there, you've done exceptionally well. But
Yeah.
it's also where Tom Watson hit it up against the wall when Sandy won, if you remember that.
That's right.
All right, number 3. It's just a unique green just because what's around it. The 17th hole at Sawgrass, the island green.
It's unique.
It's very, very unique.
It's the only island green, I reckon, in the whole world that works.
Yeah.
I reckon a lot of people have tried it, but it never works.
Yeah.
This thing works.
Easy hole in practice rounds, I can tell you now. Tournament play, not so much. That's number 3. Number 2, we're on the other side of the country in the US, a golf course called Riviera, the 6th hole, the par 3, with the bunker in the middle of the green. Very strange. I've actually been on one side or the other and had to chip it. Yeah, had to chip it over, which is no big deal. I think so. Yeah,
of course.
I think the pin was in the back left and I was front right. So you don't want to be back left and then chipping to front right.
Did you take
that's
a
really
divot
hard.
Out of the green?
I don't think I did. No, I'm pretty handy with that sort of stuff. So
Are the players, are members allowed to chip? Or is there a local rule? I know there's
I would
some
imagine there is
places
a local rule. Yeah,
where they don't like it. No. They say you're not allowed to. But in a tournament, the pros are allowed to.
But if there ever is a case for, well, you put the bunker there, I should be allowed to chip it. Well, then this is it. So anyway, fascinating green, that one. And obviously my number 1 is the 4th at Mount Lawley because of it's the map of Australia. I mean,
very good.
There's no other green in the world like it. It's only a 120-metre hole down the hill, but all 4 par 3s at Mount Lawley played well over par. They were very tough.
Even that one? Yep. A big map of Australia green played over par.
Mm-hmm. Well, the winning score was 7 under, so it shows you how tough the course was.
Okay, time for some feedback, Dan.
Talk Birdie feedback. Thanks to Southern Golf Club.
Have a look at that, Nicholas.
I know. Well,
it looks great.
You don't want to be up in far north Queensland putting across to northwest Australia somewhere because you're going to have to chip it. But interestingly, they had the Sunday pin. You know where it was? It was around Wagga Wagga.
Was it?
Yeah.
That's very good. Actually, every pin placement has a name of a town. That's very good.
They'll have to maintain that too because you don't want that to fall into. I mean, I know it won't.
Well, when I was a junior, that was a map of Australia. And then over the years, it just became an egg because, grounds committees, whatever,
where they played the Byron Nelson, which is where I used to work at Las Colinas. One of the courses had their first hole was a map of Texas.
That's right. I remember you saying that.
The map of Texas was the first hole.
All right, boys, a bit of feedback here. This is from Paul. I think we all need to give Nick a big hug for manning up and continuing the WA Open broadcast with what sounded like the man flu. Well done, soldier.
It's very much the man flu. So anyway, thank you, Paul. Very kind.
Now, still in the WA Open, this is from Texas. Just watched the WA Open. A couple of things. How do you think the majority of players felt when they knew Mark Leishman was playing? And the dress code of some of the younger players, seriously, did they get their mother to dress them? High pants, tucked in shirts, matching white socks and shoes. Golf needs to be a tad more loose.
High pants.
High pants.
Bit of Harry High Pants action going on.
I'm a bit of a fan of high pants. Always was.
Right. What do you think? You saw the whole tournament, Nick. What do you think of the dress code? Did you notice anything?
I didn't really notice anything, to be honest. I thought they were all pretty smartly dressed and it looked like a good golf tournament.
How about the young guys coming up against Leash?
Well, I think Cameron John, who ended up being runner-up, he said it's the most nervous he's been when he played with him in Might have been the third round or the first couple of days. Yeah, he was very nervous.
At least it makes everyone feel at home.
But the thing about Leash is after you start talking to him and playing with him, you go, oh, how easy is this?
He's a star.
He's a legend of a bloke.
Still on the WA Open. This is from Chris. G'day, Nick, Mark and Dan. Great pod as usual. Keep up the good work. I went to the WA Open last Friday at Mount Lawley. What an amazing course. Got to meet Mark Leishman, grabbed his autograph, watched Jeff Guan hit balls on the range. He was swinging very well. The 7th hole is a short par 4. It's called the Trap.
Correct.
What an awesome short hole pin. Would have to be one of the best short par 4s I've seen. Easy to make par and easy to bogey from the look. Have a great week.
Yeah, it's a great little hole. It's about 270 metres, but there's a bunker 20 or 30 metres short of the green. You got to fly, so it's a bit of a trap to have a go at it. And if you get caught in the wrong spot, good luck.
We need a drone flyover at Mount Lawley. I just want to see it. Like they've got the All 18 at Pine Valley or All 18 at Cypress Point, beautifully narrated. If you're not on YouTube having a look at those and you're interested, you're crazy because they're great fun just to sit back and watch some of the best courses in the world. But we want one at Mount Lawley now so I can see some of these new holes.
Yeah. Martin heard the chat last week about caddies. Hi, guys. With regards to caddies, I'm an 18 handicapper, and I think the advantage of having a good caddy is that they help me play a better managed game. I've had similar experiences, even playing with very low handicappers who would question why I made a particular club or shot choice. So that's Martin's view, which is good. Makes sense.
No, it does make sense.
Course management.
Now, we had a really good chat last week about Mo Norman, the legendary Mo Norman. You had some great stories, Mark. If you haven't heard those, go back to last week's feedback pod and have a listen. They were fantastic. We had a lot of feedback on that too. Super has said Mo was involved in an accident when he was just a kid where I think a sled was hit by a car, and many who knew Mo believe he suffered a brain injury as a result. Such a pity that he was forced off the US PGA Tour.
Right.
Wow.
So I guess they're saying he's not on the spectrum. They're saying he may have had a brain injury.
Maybe. Or he seemed like he's on the spectrum to me. But it's funny you say that because Retief Goosen, who I was watching a little bit of over there, he was a different person before he got hit by lightning.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
So he got hit by lightning as a kid and his personality changed significantly, which makes you think those things can obviously happen.
Yeah, I guess so.
Still on Mo, Jonathan has said, when I first found golf, I looked up Greg Norman and up came Mo Norman. Then that became an obsession. I loved him. He was my golf hero.
Now, Dan, you don't know this, but I had a conversation with Nick O'Hearn during the week.
Right.
And he was looking at Mo Norman setting the club a long way behind the ball.
Just don't give away my masterclass for next week. I'm actually thinking about it. No, that's okay. You can do it.
Well, you're looking at it thinking that the way he sets up with driver could help your game.
Yes. Yeah, one of the things that I do and one of my tendencies is just before I take the club away, I almost have a little...
I see that.
A little,
I've noticed it.
Like that, right? The problem with that is then I start taking it outside the line. So what I'm thinking is being a left-hander, if I've put my club back further, all of a sudden my shoulders close. And if I go there and then do a little bit of this, then I'm actually squaring them and I'll take it back on a much better path. And I've been thinking about it for quite some time because when I slow down my swing on videos, if I'm having a look, and I go, I keep picking it up outside the line. How do I stop it? And I've been thinking about different ways. Well, I just need to feel as though I don't move my shoulders at the start, and that's never worked for me.
That doesn't work.
Because I don't feel athletic then.
Yeah.
Whereas starting from a foot behind, I'm thinking, hang on. Now, I was going to do all this and have a look at it and hit balls, but I've been sick, so I haven't been able to hit balls. So this week I'm going to get out there and try it.
It sounds good in theory.
It does sound good in theory.
Just like communism sounds good in theory. That sounds good in theory.
The thing is, we're always tinkering, aren't we? We're always going, oh, yeah, that might work. This might work. Give it a go.
Well, when I said it last week, how he just eliminated the first bit, when he explained it in the clip that you put up, Dan, he was talking about how it helps the setup because when the ball moves forward over here, everyone just looks at the ball and that, of course, opens your shoulders. And he was explaining if he puts the ball back in the middle and the ball's up there, then everything's square because he's looking straight at the middle. So that, that might help you as well.
Maybe.
I mean, if you're looking at the ball, sorry, you're left-hander, if you're looking at the ball up there and you're square to this line, maybe your shoulders are open anyway.
Maybe.
I can't wait to see your Mo Norman swing. I can't wait.
I went down a rabbit hole last week of Mo Norman videos after you guys talked about him. Yeah. And he's a unusual character, but boy, it's incredible.
There are so many. There are so many. It's incredible.
Yeah, there was tons.
Yeah.
A couple to finish on here. This one from Sickarang. This is about your FootJoy conversation, Mark, last week.
Yes.
Top 5. Absolutely agree about Doug Sanders. Hard not to. When you were reading the list, I was thinking, how can he not mention Doug? Great job, Mark. Poulter had a fine collection of FootJoys, by the way.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he had a lot of FootJoys.
But
he actually had a suitcase just of shoes with compartments made to where he would take a dozen pair of FootJoys every tournament, wherever he went. Something like that. Something crazy.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Baz reckons you missed someone.
Oh, shoes. Who?
Hey, guys. I reckon you missed Scotty Hend in the best shoe category when he wore Raimondi golf shoes. Great style and comfort. I still wear a pair myself. Now, I think that could be because you were talking about FootJoy specifically, weren't you, or not?
No, because I had Payne Stewart.
Yeah, we weren't sure on a couple
We
of
weren't
them.
sure whether Payne wore foot. I mean, I know some of these shoes were FootJoys, but there are other ones with the steel caps where I'm not sure they were. They might have been, some of these handmade numbers that he would have got
remember
these journeys.
What about Scotty Hend's Raimondis? Do you remember that? I don't remember them. Do you?
Not really.
Not
I
really.
remember he used to wear some two-tone sort of shoes. And
Yeah,
things
not
like
really.
That,
but I know just like FootJoy, they you can get stuff made from how do you say the name again? Raimondi.
Well, I think so. I'm just reading it how it's written. So
yeah. Well, if you go to the footjoy.com.au website and look up the premiers, you can actually make your own.
That's amazing.
You can make your own, and you'll get them within 4 or 5 weeks. I've done a number of times, and it's great fun.
Last one here, Robert Allenby's induction last week into the Hall of Fame. I think was it Hall of Fame?
Victorian Hall of Fame, I think.
Victorian Hall of Fame. Brett reckons, guys, get him on the pod.
Yeah, he'd be willing.
Yep.
Yep, he would. Yep. How you going? Do you want me to get you some lemon juice and a towel over your head and some Vicks or something?
I did that the other day, actually.
Did it work?
I was sweating like a, need to get in a sauna, actually.
Hang on, what he's not telling us, Marco, is that's the towel over your head you get when you're in business class on the flight.
Okay.
There you go. Okay, this week, DP World Tour, we're in India, in Delhi, on a golf course that if you didn't hit the fairways, you were going to shoot loads. Did you see any of the coverage?
Yes, I did, and I could not believe the junk on either side of the fairways.
Yeah,
either side.
Wouldn't be a good spot for me at the moment, I know that.
No.
So anyway, Tommy Fleetwood, wow, what a season he's having.
What a flusher.
Yeah, he had a 2-shot win over Keita Nakajima and celebrated with his son, Frankie, as well, which was a really cool moment. And weirdly, his son Frankie said the week before, "Hey, Dad, you've never won a tournament where I can, when I'm standing next to the 18th green." And guess what?
Fantastic.
It happened.
Oh, that's good.
So good. Daniel Hillier had a real chance there, the New Zealander. He was in the lead on the front nine, playing beautifully, but faded a bit over the closing stages, finishing tied for 9th. And the other Australasian in the field was Jason Scrivener, tied for 63rd.
We need more Australians playing in Europe.
We do.
We
do.
desperately need a team. We need
we've got
20.
Elvis, we've got Mika, Scriv, obviously.
The boys you mentioned.
There'll be more going over, I'm assuming, from
It'd be nice to have 20.
It would be.
Back
when I was playing, there was probably about 15.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, on the LPGA Tour, they had the BMW Ladies Championships in Korea, where the local Korean Se-Young Kim ended a 5-year drought with a 4-shot win over Japan's Nasa Hataoka. The defending champion, Hannah Green, had a good final round 66 to finish tied for 5th. Minjee Lee tied 10th, as well as Steph Kyriakou. They were the best of the Aussies. On the Asian Tour, they had the Macau Open, where Dominic Foos became the first German to win on the Asian Tour in 29 years. You know who the last German was?
Bernhard Langer.
There you go. Absolutely. Anyway, he won on the second playoff hole against Chinese Taipei's Wang Wei Sun. Best Aussie was Brett Rankin. Good week for him, tied for 5th. And also tied for 10th was Jack Thompson, the best of the Aussies there. And as well as TalkBirdie's own, Austin Truslow had a tied for 10th as well. So well done to Austin.
Very nice.
The Japan Open, which I mentioned earlier, the winner of this got into the Masters and the British Open, and it was Naoki Kataoka, who won a playoff against Satoshi Hara to punch his ticket to those two majors. In third position, funnily enough, was Ryo Ishikawa. Do you remember him?
Yeah, absolutely.
He was a superstar as a teenager.
As a kid.
How old do you think he is now?
Well, I remember him as a 16-year-old, so I'm going to say he's 26.
34 now. That was a while ago.
Wow.
He hasn't played the Masters since 2013. Remember, he got a couple of special invites back then. But he finished third, so he almost went back to Augusta.
He came on the scene when Rory McIlroy, I think they kind of came at the same time, and they'll
similar.
Build as
the
superstars. Kids going through, and one elevated and one didn't.
Well, Rio got some invites to the US and that, but he just never really fulfilled his potential. But he's killed it in Japan. He's just winning everything over the years. Adam Scott was also playing tied for 11th. On the Champions Tour, they had the SAS Championship in North Carolina where Justin Leonard eagled the last for the win. Well done to Justin. Best Aussie was Michael Wright, tied for 8th, and Mark Hensby tied for 11th. They were the best. And then on the
Michael Wright, he's had a good year. He's had a sneaky good year.
Yeah, on the LET Access Tour, they had the Spanish Women's Open where Justice Bosio made a late dash to the event because top 7 from the LET Access gets your card into the Ladies European Tour.
Okay. So she had this.
She was 8th going into the event, so needed a good week.
Right.
She finished tied 9th.
And?
Unfortunately, wasn't good enough. She got leapfrogged by the winner, Andrea Lignell, and who ended up getting her spot, basically. So it was a bit of a shame. And then in the W Open, as I mentioned, Oliver Bekker from South Africa had a one-shot win over Cameron John. In tied for 3rd was Mark Leishman, Lockie Barger, and Nathan Barbieri. The All Abilities was won by George Vassilides, so well done to him. And then finally, the PGA Tour Q School. First stage was just played. Travis Smythe won his section.
Yep.
So he advances to the second stage. And also Grant Booth and Kevin Yuan of Australia got through in New Mexico. So look out for the players going through that because they offer 5 cards to the main tour through Q School. So it still is there, that access, but it's pretty tough.
All right, very good. Well, Nicholas, nice to hear all the news from tours around the world.
Indeed.
So Masterclass this week is you, Mark.
That's right.
You want to give us a heads up before we go to it?
Well, selfishly, we're looking forward to Nick's Mo Norman on himself. And this one, selfishly, because I'm now presetting my hips.
Yes.
Like Matt Gogol.
You are doing that constantly now, are you?
I'm doing it all the time
and
now.
Have you picked up a bit of length?
Last week, Nick, the final hole, the 18th hole at Kingston Heath.
Yes.
It was only a half club wind behind me.
Right.
I had 104 yards to the pin. It's the longest drive I've hit.
How many sprinkler heads
for
did you have?
None. And it was a rip too, right down the middle, just a tiny little bit of draw.
Ooh.
But that's kind of one of the benefits is obviously my shoulders are turning. I used to have this move where I'd come up for whatever reason.
That stops it.
It stopped me coming up as I take away. And I'm now going down like someone who knows what they're doing.
Wow.
So it's ridiculous. But what I hate, this is what I hate now, that the Masterclass will pop up in the tick. What I hate is when people are trying to fix something in their setup.
Yep.
And the last thing they do is fix it.
Right.
It's the wrong way to do it.
You got to fix it early.
This is the right way to do it.
Right. The Masterclass for Watch My Numbers, download from Google Play or the App Store right after this.
Looks good, man. Dude. Are we in slow motion, too?
Okay, I'm a waggler, and there's lots of things that you can do while you're waggling. And the most important thing is get your address right. So I see a lot of people waggling when they look at the ball. Then they'll change their spine angle or they'll clear something up here while they're looking at the ball. Then they look at the target and it messes everything up. So what I'm suggesting you do is that when you set up, when you're waggling and looking at the target, that's when I'm going to preset my hips while I'm doing that. And it works as well if you're hitting a driver and you're trying to get your spine on the right angle. Now, don't start like that and waggle, then look, and then get the angle of your spine. It doesn't work. If you're hitting a driver, put the ball forward, waggle, and get back there. And do it while you're looking at the target. And it makes more sense when you're actually hitting the ball.
I love that. Got to do it early, not last thing, right?
That's right. Because you just I know you do it with the putting, so when you look down the line and you come back, then you like to pull the trigger. What I hate seeing people do is they've looked at everything, they're ready to go, they put the club back down behind the ball, and then they change something in their setup.
Yeah.
Instead of if you're waggling while you look at the target and then maneuvering your body into whatever shape you want it at address, then as soon as you come back down, you're in shape.
Yeah.
The shape is right and you are free.
And then it's a natural athletic move.
You are free to go. And anyway, look, it's funny, I used to always do it, but my setup's been good for a long time. So I didn't realise, I found myself on the driving range
presetting
after I'm set to go.
Yes, okay.
Which was wrong. So it came into my head. So I started, obviously presetting while I was presetting my hips, presetting my hip turn while I was waggling and looking at the hole. And then that motion kind of changed everything again.
And you're just doing it for driver, right? Not irons.
I do it for everything.
Really?
Yep. I'm doing it for everything because, that move I was saying before, I'd come up. I was coming up with a lob wedge.
Oh, wow.
I used to hate it. And then I tried to stay down and then that didn't work. It worked. I could stay down, but the shots.
So you had 40 points or?
No, I didn't. I had 3 down. But I had 34 putts. Oh,
there you go.
Which was the
3
green.
putts.
Yeah, greens were, because of the club championships, the greens were firm and fast. And
they'd be in tournament condition right now.
I kept on trying to hold my par putt and hit a 6-foot pass and make a double with a 3-putt net. It's very easy to do. Anyway, folks, hope you've enjoyed the show. Don't forget to fill in that survey if you see it on our socials. Dan will retweet it all over the place.
Yeah.
It'll make the show better and hopefully make you happier. We'll see you next time.
Talk Birdie to Me with Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen comes live from Titleist and FootJoy headquarters. And thanks to our fantastic partners. Titleist is the clear #1 ball in golf. FootJoy, the #1 shoe and glove in golf. BMW, luxury and comfort for the 19th hole. Ping, they'll help you play your best. Better, the fastest and easiest betting app in Australia. And the Golf Clearance Outlet, who beat everyone's prices. Wherever you listen or watch, we'd love you to subscribe and maybe leave a review. Talk Birdie to Me's executive producer is Dan Bradley at Kaizen Media, with sound design by Daryl Misson at loudzebra.com. And now from Titleist and FootJoy headquarters, that's been Talk Birdie to Me.